Good afternoon. I will have approximately 15 questions. Firstly, you are working on such great movies as recently Fantastic Beasts and What to Find Them, The Imitation Game, The Fault in Our Stars, A Fantastic Fear of Everything, Gambit, Harry Potter 1 to 8, City of Amber, Swedited. What can you say about your studies background?
About our background
Yeah.
in studies. Oh, that's interesting because actually we've had quite different scholastic education, but probably with the same sensibilities for the things that we like. So I studied in scenography, in theatre design, in an undergraduate, and then I did film design for postgraduate. So it was my trajectory was much more to do with the three-dimensional design, maybe to become a designer, not a graphic designer.
Okay.
But Eduardo?
I'm from Brazil. I studied in
Yes.
there, and since I was a little boy, I always was fascinated about filmmaking and film, but I never knew what I was going to. I knew that I wanted to work in film, but I didn't know what and how. And so I studied graphic design in Rio, and I started working in editing there. And when it was only when I moved to London and I met Mira that I started doing graphics for films, and it was brilliant because the two passions, the graphic and the film, kind of joined together.
Okay. You have met each other in 2002. When have you begun to work together as a graphic designer on the Harry Potter film franchise? How did you succeed to have this great opportunity? Did you know the Harry Potter books before? Not a question.
So we started working. It's because of Harry Potter that we're together creatively. We didn't know the books before. I mean, it was 2000 when I started, so the scope of enthusiasm for Harry Potter was much smaller and maybe more to do with young children. And I had a 1-year-old child, so I was a little bit out of touch with culture anyway at the time. And so it was because of the films that we came to the whole.
And I moved to London in 2001, and I haven't heard about Harry Potter until then. And I don't think, because I think maybe the books were not translated in Brazil. I'm not sure, but it was one when I contacted Mira that she said, I'm working in Harry Potter, so I tried to find out more about it, and we never really left.
Yes.
Good. You are working on all Harry Potter movies with different directors: Chris Columbus, Alfonso Cuarón, Mike Newell, David Yates. What can you tell you about this long collaboration of the Harry Potter universe?
With the director?
With the
of course,
directors. Well, as artists are, by nature, everybody has a different leaning, a different what's important to them. Some directors might have more interest in the graphic contribution to the film, and some are more demanding too. I mean, I think there were some moments with Alfonso Cuarón where we felt very pushed creatively, but I think you can see the result.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
And obviously the last, I suppose our experience, the bigger experience is with David Yates, because he's done so many.
I find enough that you went to college.
So I was at film school with David Yates by coincidence. So we are going back to the question about the education. We were both studying at the same school at the same time.
Good.
So
you work on the Harry Potter film, include scenite, floor design, carpet design, packaging, poster, media and props. How do you process to create the different items of the Harry Potter's book? Which one, why, for you, the most difficult to create, and why?
The range of graphics for films is, as you said, is quite
vast.
It's quite vast. And because the art department is kind of divided into sections. There is the art department that is in charge of all the sets and the buildings, and there is the set decorating that is called
Decor.
And so we are kind of in the middle, working for set decorating, and for the art department, also in charge of all the action props, graphic props.
Yeah.
And what was the question? I just wanted to
So
know.
what's the
The
most
most-
difficult?
Yeah, it was difficult for you.
I think in the three sections of the graphic art we have no challenges. Like for example, sometimes to design like massive floor designs, like for example for the Green God's Bank,
Yes.
is like a marble thing. That was really hard because to make sure that all the pieces.
Technically, it's
Yeah. So there are things like that that can take like a really long time to
but
make
you
sure.
wouldn't notice that
Yes.
somebody
Yeah.
had to do it.
And doing the tests, like how we're going to print the paper, blah, blah, blah. And with the art department side as well, sometimes it takes like really long time to decide which kind of font, typeface we're going to use, and the signage. And but one of the things that I think everyone on Harry Potter didn't like very much was to do, not didn't like, but was like, oh god, it's Muggle stuff. Anything that was Muggle, it was a bit of a. No.
Yeah, back to reality.
Yeah, like, oh no, let's go back to the magical world.
May
Did I answer your question?
Yes,
Sorry.
you would. Thank you. Miraphora, you have said that working on the J.K. Rowling things from her book on her screenplay is like a muscle you can exercising. What are you for the main case of the success of this book and adaptations?
How do I
Yeah.
think this
Yes.
is the success? for them?
Yes, of the books and the adaptations on movie.
I think that from her books, which she already did in the books, but also the interpretation of them in the films, every element of this has managed to make the audience able to identify with what's happening in the story.
Yes.
And that's really important, I think, and that's why there's such a huge fan base, because everyone from a 10-year-old child who's
Yes.
expecting to receive their letter to an adult understanding about human relations and friendships and failures, and I think she manages to identify some very core things that in human beings, and in the films we managed to translate those into a visual version. So I think people can identify with that's
Yes.
key.
You are managed to establish the visual graphic style on the Harry Potter film series and give life with a great talent to this universe. You still continue to be heavily involved with the Harry Potters, from designing collectible merchandise and books to the street graphic from Wizarding World of Harry Potter at the Universal Orlando in Japan. What do you like so much in this amazing universe?
The endless possibility
Yeah.
for design. That's what we like, and
Yes.
it never ends. Every opportunity, even within the same franchise, is different. Every project presents new challenges, technically or creatively, but
Yeah,
we can still go back to
Yeah.
the language that we created, and so that's like it's like a coming home. You
Yes.
know,
Because when we finished the last Harry Potter film in 2010, we are kind of more busy now than we were while production, because there's so many things happening not related to the Wizard World. And Orlando, the Diagon Alley, the Wizard World of Harry Potter in Orlando, it was an amazing experience, because we were working for 3 years to design all the street graphics, and it's so amazing, that place, and so immersive, and you feel that you are in Diagon Alley.
How do you share your creative work between you two?
No, it's very hard to say that one thing belongs. I design it,
Yes.
and we work so
it's
well
quite
together.
it's quite organic actually,
Okay,
because we do like different things. So when we, as you said, when we're presented with a list of things we need to design, we kind of naturally go drawn to one thing or the other, and then the other person helps. For example, on Harry Potter, I drew most of the Marauder's map, and Eduardo designed most of the Daily Prophet. But then we always, once
we are together.
We sit opposite each other, and we just interfere a lot with each
But
other.
it's funny, because when we started, and even now as well, that my style is to be a little bit more busy. I don't like to leave any white spaces. I like to make sure that every single place in the page is covered with graphics, and Mira is a little bit more less
minimal,
busy,
yeah.
minimal. But now there are moments that she became so busy and I became minimal that we look like, what's going on there? So it's a fantastic partnership.
Can you tell us an anecdote concerning your long collaboration with David Yates?
Oh.
Ah. Good question.
Yeah.
Maybe you should have told us that one before.
Yeah.
I'll probably think of it now when you finish.
We remember to, yeah.
I'm just quickly going through all the films. I mean, to be honest, it's probably more J.K. Rowling than David Yates.
Yes. Okay.
So,
how did you process to create with such degree of realism the Wesley without Wiz?
well, that was an amazing opportunity.
That was the dream.
Yes.
Yeah. And,
Of course.
and the first time we looked at that stuff, we were, let's do some really cool shop graphics. And then we had to stop and think, actually, this is a shop that's been organised and run by two teenagers, boys, who are not designers. And so it must not be too designed. So we looked at 1970s and 1960s packaging for fireworks and for sweets and just really cheap packaging. And we looked at how things were printed and bad typography and colours that don't match together. So all those things were kind of the palette from which we would work for that whole range of products. And really the motivation is these kids needed to sell as much stuff quickly. Yeah. So they didn't have time to do beautiful, pretty things. And we had maybe 200 pieces of individual design for that shop.
And we worked for nearly 6 to 7 months on that set. So we had to get another
a really good team
of another 5 people to come and help us. And it was great. I think for all the departments, the Weasley's shop was a very nice and refreshing, because it reflects as well on the story of what is happening with the fiction, because Diagon Alley has just been destroyed by the Death Eaters, and the Weasleys open the shop and brings a bit of happiness and colour and hope to.
Good. Concerning your work on Fantastic Beasts, how did you approach this universe? What were for you the new challenges on this movie?
I guess the biggest difference for us was that it's actually set in a particular period of time, in the 20s, and so when you're in the Muggle universe.
And also to establish, the American wizarding, and because we didn't know much about the wizarding world in America. So this is the first time that we are going there, and we are really seeing how they live and what they do, and they are so different from the British wizarding world. They are much more aware and worried that the no-magists will find out about them. So they have all these laws about secrecy, and so that it was a really good way, to kind of establish how they. And also the style of the 1920s.
The 1920s was a wonderful period to be working in.
Also for inspiration. What is for you a typical day for working?
Sleep till 10 o'clock. Commuting a long way.
The street is quite far.
Everybody starts at 8 o'clock. Let's say we're starting a new project, we would do a lot of research first. We might even spend a week or something trying to get the right reference and find the right typefaces. This is a really important thing in our design, is the typography. And sometimes we feel surprised how long it can take to find it. We were joking that it's like casting the actors, our little mini actors, and trying to find the personality of a typeface can change the design or the direction of the design. So
it's a long day. It's like from 8 until 6 6:37
Yeah.
every day.
And sometimes you're in a nice process of designing and then you get a call saying, come down to the set because we need to completely change this thing, it's not working because the actor's having a problem to unfold in this way that you designed it.
But
so
those are the things that give you that sensation, because even though that we know so well how to work in film, have been there for 17 years, but when we got those calls, you still feel a bit nervous because you are there, there's filming
there's lots of
and
people waiting.
and you need to make sure that everything is correct and right.
How have you chosen your creation for this exposition?
Which ones we chose?
This one. How did you choose the different portraits for this exposition in Paris?
Do you mean which pieces
yeah,
that we
which
chose
pieces,
from
yes,
the film?
yes. How did you choose for this exposition?
We tried to choose. I mean, it's difficult because the public don't know this story yet.
For Fantastic Beasts.
Yes. So we had to try and choose the most, I guess, the pieces that describe each set. For example, the wanted posters. There's lots and lots of wanted posters, but obviously we try and choose the most iconic ones with the hero people on there. So try and choose a little bit from each part of the film so that the public can...
I think it's quite interesting if people come here to see the exhibition before the film, because they will see things that, that doesn't really make sense. I'm not sure what this is.
Yes.
But when they go and see the film, they will see those props in action, and it will be fun. With the Harry Potter section, we chose the main ones, the most iconic pieces, from the letter until the Marauders map and the Day Prophets.
What are for you the main differences between the Harry Potter saga and the Fantastic Beasts? New York, London, yes?
Yeah, with Harry Potter, we knew more or less about this story because we had the books.
Yes.
So we were always like, maybe 2 books behind. Filming, and she was 2 books ahead. With Fantastic Beasts, we don't know anything. No, we don't know what's going to happen on the second film, and that is very exciting as well because we don't have a clue what she's plotting, where she's going to take us.
Yeah.
You are responsible for all architectural graphic as a wizarding world of Harry Potter, Diagon Alley in Universal Studio Florida. What were for you the biggest difficulties on this project?
Well, I mean, in a way it was a good difficulty because unlike film where something might be for 1 second in front of the camera,
Yes.
in there everything is there forever. So
It's for real.
So we know that somebody can stand, and if they want to spend 4 hours in front of that shop, they can. And of course, we were working as well from a distance. We were working in London digitally, electronically, and we had to follow. We'd never done a project like that before that was actually in a theme park with particular construction restraints as well. So, for example, they have to think about extreme winds, so certain signs have to be built in certain ways so that they're not destroyed by a hurricane. So there was, some nice new elements to do with the longevity of a real architectural situation.
And also was really cool to invent new areas of Diagon Alley, because in the films we just see the main street, and J.K. Rowling, she invented no vertical alley and horizontal alley. So you see the other. We had to invent new shops and new areas too. That was great as well.
My last question: which American directors would like to work with and why?
American ones. Maybe the Coen brothers.
Sorry, he's a director.
Good choice.
Yeah.
I might say with Almodovar.
Yeah, not American, but
but I know. But he's one of the directors that I'm really curious to learn and to learn on to work, to find out more about him, to meet him and have a glass of wine and hopefully do a collaboration on it. But American, there are some. I love David Lynch. I would love to work with him as well, especially now that he's doing the Twin Peaks again. And
of course.
So I can't wait for that.
And my very last question: what kind of advice could you give to someone who would like to work as a graphic designer?
be prepared to work really hard,
Yes.
because if you love it, it doesn't matter if it's hard work, it's just enjoyment to get up every day.
Yeah.
And to
And
keep your eyes open
open.
all the time. I mean, whether it's, I'm already looking at some interesting signs out there on the opposite building because it's foreign to me and it's different.
Yes.
And if you're in a bookshop, just take everything in, and even set yourself a project where you say, I'm going to buy one book
Yes.
every month, €5, €10. It's that you don't have to buy like the new edition of the graphic design. You might buy a book on stamps
Yes.
or
It's
I
very
think
important to build their own
build a
library.
library.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also don't get too much anxious about to learn all the programs on the computer, all the software. Just make sure you train your hand as much as you
Keep
can.
drawing.
Because the software, the computer will be there and they keep changing every month anyway. So, but if you train your hand and if you draw, if you sketch, whatever, if you're a good drawer, it doesn't matter. Just do whatever you want with. No?
Keep a sketchbook.
And do that more before you just go on computer.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you very much for this
Thank
interview.
you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thanks.
Can I take some picture?
Yes.